103 million views, 171 million views, and 159 million views. In this video, I'm going to explain how to make YouTube hooks so good YouTube has to give you views and give you absurd amounts of money, like this video that generated $12,000 off one single video. This is day 5 of the View Maximizing Bootcamp. Let's get straight into it. So the very first thing you have to understand when you're trying to make a good hook for a YouTube short, you have to understand the metric that actually measures how good your hook is. So if you go to your video here and you click on engagement, scroll down, you're going to see this right here that says how viewers engage and a stayed to watch ratio with a swipe away ratio. So this is a very important metric to look at. Make sure you guys go to your own YouTube algorithm and do this along with the video so you can see this for yourself as we're going through this. For the 171 million view video, we had a 85.2% swipe ratio. And for the 159 million view video, we had a 80.3% swipe ratio. Now, really, the ideal swipe ratio we want to have is 81.1%. We're going to explain why this video went viral and all the other videos did as well, and how you can utilize this and systematize it so you can get good swipe ratios every single time on every single short you upload to get you more views and make you more money. And keep in mind, this system that I'm about to give you is a system that I've used across multiple channels and multiple videos to consistently get millions and millions of views. Like this video that got 55 million views, this one that got 56 million views, this one that got another 55 million views, this one that got 42 million views, and this one that also got 46 million views. And this is one of many different channels that we are running right now. So we use this across a lot of channels and we get good results on all of them. So when we were trying to make a good hook, we were basically trying to get the viewer to convince them to give us their attention, right? Because basically every single video that they watch, we are competing for their attention to watch our video. And as I go over this again and again in every single video, when we were trying to understand why a viewer stays to watch, we really understand what YouTube wants us to do for the viewer. So what does YouTube actually want from us before we understand how to make a good hook? YouTube wants 3 things from us. YouTube wants us to make them money because they are a business. YouTube wants people to stay on their platform as long as humanly possible. And then YouTube also wants us to make sure the viewer is satisfied. All right. And I'm going to go over this satisfied a little more in detail in a second, but these are the 3 pillars: money, stayed on platform, and satisfied. Now, you can understand here that stayed on the platform is, of course, going to be the second pillar, which is our hook. So this is why YouTube wants us to have good hooks for our videos. Also, if they actually stay to watch, then they can actually watch your video, and then we end up making more money because of our higher average view duration, which we're going to go over in tomorrow's bootcamp. So understanding how to make a good hook means you need to understand the different types of hooks that actually exist in the first place. So first of all, there is a hook where you give context to the viewer, and then there is a anti-hook where you don't give context to the viewer. And both of these perform very, very, very well. These are the only 2 hooks that you need to understand to make sure your videos go viral, because I implement these type of hooks into all of these videos over here, and all of these videos are performing very well right now. So pay attention to this part of the video. I want you to imagine your entire YouTube video as a storyline starting from start to finish. This is a storyline plot, right? In the very beginning, you can choose your H for hook and then your AH for anti-hook. I'll be using these abbreviations for the rest of this video. So when we are trying to hook them in, I'm going to give some examples of what you can use as a hook and what you can use as an anti-hook across any niche, because this applies to any niche as long as you are able to actually implement it. It can be faceless, it can be not faceless, it can be commentary, it could even be wordless where you just don't even speak. As long as you use the system, it's going to help you. So first, let's go over the hook. So what a hook really is, if we break it down, it is giving context to the viewer. So what does that exactly mean? Giving context to the viewer is saying something like, hey, in this video, I'm going to explain why dogs are the best animal. Or in this video, I'm going to explain how to make good hooks. Or in this video, do you guys get the idea? I'm giving context to what I'm about to talk about. So basically, you're not surprised, right? And this is good because if you're trying to target a certain audience, we want them to make sure they feel comfortable when they're watching our video, to make sure they're not wasting their time, because as you guys know, time is the most important currency in this day and age in this economy. But for shorts, it's a little bit different because they're actually randomly scrolling to see your video, right? So if they're randomly scrolling to see your video, they aren't exactly looking for it. They're kind of just getting showed it to them in front of them. So we basically have to convince them within 3 seconds of why our video is worth their time to give the next 30 or so seconds to watch an entire video. So if you don't master this down, you will not get views. So a good way to give context to the viewer and actually keep them engaged, for example, if we're doing animal commentary, maybe we're doing some type of fact, maybe we're doing some type of like Roblox video, we can say something like "you won't believe." Saying something like "you won't believe" is a really good way to get them engaged, because then they're wondering, well, what do I not believe? I need to understand more of this video to actually watch it. So say something like, "You won't believe the craziest dog facts," or "You won't believe what happened to this Roblox YouTuber," or "You won't believe what happened at this place at this time at blah blah blah," right? So saying something like "you won't believe" is a great way to give context without giving away the full information. Because if we give away everything in this video, right? If we give away everything in the first couple seconds, then they're not going to stay to watch because they don't care, because they already know, right? So we have to basically edge the line of, hey, we want to give context and give them kind of a little bit of information, but not too much. So saying "you won't believe" and then blank after this is a really good way to do a hook. Another good way to do a hook is saying something like, do you guys remember when? This is more for rants. This is more for commentary. Do you guys remember when? Do you guys remember when blank? Remember when Obama blank? Remember when Trump blank? Remember when Fearless, the Fortnite YouTuber, did blank? Right? So this is also good. If you say something like, do you remember? It makes the viewer feel like, do I remember what? And then they actually have to get context to watch the rest of the video. And then if they actually care about it, they'll stay at that point. Right? So these are two good ways. You won't believe, or you won't remember, or do you remember? These are good contexts to make good hooks. Now let's talk about anti-hooks, because I'm gonna be honest, I don't use hooks too much. I've noticed that anti-hooks work far better for the YouTube algorithm, because it's much easier to get someone in when you don't give them full context to the video, so they have to figure it out themselves. But we edge them enough where they actually feel a little bit interested regardless, right? So now we're talking about anti-hooks. Anti-hooks, I think, is the most powerful form of short form swipe ratios in this day and age right now. A lot of huge YouTubers like Mr. Beast use it, Zach D Films uses it, and a lot of high ranking channels use it as well, because anti-hooks basically force the viewer to watch. It puts them in a position where if they don't watch, they feel bad, right? And that may sound a little bit bad, when I say that out loud, but it's true. If you can make your viewer feel bad to not watch your video, they will feel good if they do watch your video. So how do we do an anti-hook? So I want you guys to remember this storyline again, right? So we're going to start off here at the anti-hook, or the AH. When we're trying to do an anti-hook, we want to basically say something like going straight into the video. For example, if we're doing a ranking video on the cutest dogs, instead of saying something like "you won't believe the craziest dog moments," we could just start off with saying "the dog accidentally ran into the door," right? This is jumping straight into it rather than trying to give context. And a good example of this is Zach D Films. Now, Zach D Films is pulling roughly 2 billion views each per month on one channel right now, and he is doing really good on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Now, I'm pulling around 1.5 billion views over 36 channels, so Zach D Films is absolutely killing it right now for one single channel. But I'm going to give you an example of how he uses anti-hooks to keep the viewer actually engaged with the actual video itself. Now, this video here is talking about a guy putting a shock collar on a dog. And normally, if you're using a hook, you could say something like, "You won't believe what happened when you put this shock collar on this dog." But look what Zach does here.
He strapped the shock collar around her neck.
Do you see the slight difference? Instead of saying, "You won't believe what happened when this guy did this," he just went straight into, "he did this," right? So when we say "he did this," people immediately have the first reaction of feeling like they're left out. And human psychology is, if you feel like you don't know what's going on, you try to figure out what's going on, especially in social scenarios. And social media is a social scenario, right? So this is why not giving context is a very, very important skill to learn, because if you don't give context, when you don't give context, people search, and when people search for information, they stay on your video longer, and then your swipe ratio, SW, increases exponentially, and then we get that 81.1% swipe ratio that we're trying to achieve. So now that I've kind of explained hooks and anti-hooks, I want you guys to do an exercise for me real quick. Go to your actual analytics of your channel, see your most viewed video, and then go to the engagement and see the swipe ratio. Now, if the swipe ratio is not 81.1%, the views may be not that good. Now, if you have a video like this that has 80.3% swipe ratio and has the views that's like maybe still pretty good, This is why using engagement farms actually gives you more views than just using hooks, right? So this video here, I'm not going to show the actual video itself because I don't want to leak the channel, but it is a ranking video, right? So this video here is a ranking video on something very, very specific that is very, very broad at the same time. It is a specific action that has a very, very broad audience. The ideation of your video is very important. So make sure when you are trying to think of the actual idea behind your video itself, think about, hey, would enough people care to actually watch this for them to actually be engaged, right? Because if the idea of your video is too niche, people will not care, right? So for example, if you're ranking the best Corvettes, there's a lot of people in the world who just don't care about Corvettes. So if you make, best Corvette videos, then, people who don't care about Corvettes, people who don't care about cars are just going to scroll away. But if you say best sports cars, that is going to be a much wider ideation. Now you're talking about cars. Everyone has driven in a car before. Now people actually care about this. And then you can go into actually ranking different, cars rather than different Corvettes, right? It's a small difference, but that small difference gives you a much wider selection of people who will actually watch your video. So think about the idea behind your video before you actually do it. Now, I want you guys to do an exercise real quick. Go to your channel right now and think how you can try to implement anti-hooks to your videos if you're not already. Anti-hooks are better than hooks in my personal opinion. So use anti-hooks to your advantage. Think about how you can use anti-hooks for your channel to actually increase your views and increase your swipe ratio. For example, if you're doing Roblox rants, think about how you can not give context and still have people to watch. If you're doing ranking, maybe think about how you can not give context and maybe do the clip selection better, maybe start the clip at a certain point better and see how you can engage with your viewers further. If you're doing Roblox content, see how you can engage with them further by, instead of trying to give context of what's going to happen, just start what's going to happen already. There's so many ways to do it. So if you're making content in general, anti-hooks is a very, very powerful weapon you can use to actually increase the swipe ratio and then overall get more views. And I think that's pretty much everything for this video. I mean, we went over hooks, anti-hooks, and then overall just how to increase your swipe ratio. You do want to be aiming for this 81.1% because the 81.1% is the ideal ratio. So if you guys look at your overall swipe ratio of your channel, if your swipe ratio is not above 81.1%, you guys are doing something wrong and you need to improve your hooks. So take a look at this video again if you guys are in the future encountering this problem with another one of your channels and try to figure out how to actually fix your hooks. Also, another tip as well, guys, when you upload your videos, your swipe ratio is always going to be lower because YouTube is finding your demographic and finding your audience. As your video views go up, your swipe ratio go up because YouTube is finding the actual audience for your niche. So expect a lower swipe ratio when you upload it. Do not freak out if the first day of your video has a 70% swipe ratio because as it gets pushed to the algorithm, the swipe ratio will go up over time. I'm sure a lot of you guys who are a little more experienced have noticed this as well. When you upload your videos, swipe ratio sucks, gets pushed to the audience, and then you have better swipe ratios. That's gonna be all for this video. I hope it was helpful. If you guys did learn anything from this, if you want to work with me one-on-one, you can click on the first link in the description and apply to work with me one-on-one. We're taking tons of students to insane amounts of results, like $17, $15, and even $25,000 per month in just AdSense revenue for a lot of our students. Also, the Discord is going to be linked in the description as well. And keep in mind,